welcome to my top 10 best guns to use in Warzone 2 right now. And I want to start off with the close range meta and a SMG that we see used a lot more in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer compared to Warzone 2, even though it's one of the best floor loot weapons in the game right now, and that is the Vaznev 9K. Now for the class setup, you want the X10RR40 muzzle and tune that as a plus 0.5 for recoil smoothness and then plus 0.29 towards bullet velocity. All these tunings, I've gone into the firing range and adjusted things just to make sure that they're the best there can possibly be and are going to perform as consistently as possible for you. The agent grip for the underbarrel, and then that is tuned for 0.49 for ADS speed and then 0.19 towards aim walking speeds. You've got the 45 round mag, so you can take out multiple players. Incredible for quads, and it's one of the reasons that I love the Vaznev so much, because if you're taking on multiple enemies, like, this has got enough ammo for you to take down multiple people without needing to reload. You've then got the Demo X2 grip to help control that recoil that little bit more, with a plus 3.35 to recoil steadiness and then a minus 0.2 for sprint to fire speed. You've then got the Ultrazat stock, which is then tuned for ADS speed, minus 2.5, and then minus 1.47 towards aim walking speed. This just means that when you're fighting within a building, you're able to strafe properly and pick up a lot of kills when you go around a corner, so you don't have to worry about that sprint to fire speed as much. The next close range meta weapon in the game, you may notice this, you'll see a lot of pro players running this. It is, of course, the P890 Akimbo pistols. These things are ridiculous, and if you're going for a single loadout without overkill, these are what you want to be having on your loadout. You've got the FT steel fire muzzle, which is then tuned for all the way to recoil smoothness, because you're never going to ADS with this, because of course they're Akimbo pistols. And then bullet velocity, very, very important as well, just so your shots hit as quickly as they can. We've then got the Bruin Express trigger, which is then tuned for recoil smoothness and sprint to fire speed, because of course ADS speed, once again, does not matter. Sprint to fire, very, very important when you're only able to hit fire. You've then got the 1MW pistol laser, which of course has no tuning. The 12 round mag, so you can take out multiple opponents. And then of course, Akimbo. Really easy to build, but one of the best guns in the game right now, and you should definitely be giving them a go. Now, our next two best close range weapons in Warzone 2 right now is, of course, the Lachmann sub, the MP5, one of the all-time classics within Call of Duty, and the build that you want to have, because this thing shreds. Like, if you do not like the Fennec, which is probably one of the most used guns, the Lachmann sub is what you want to be going for. So you've got the X10RR muzzle, which is tuned towards 0.5 for recoil smoothness, and then plus 0.29 towards bullet velocity. We've then got the FTAC M sub 12, which is then recoil steadiness at plus 0.19, and aim down sight speed at minus 0.21. 1MW quickfire laser. You've then got the Lachmann TCG 10 rear grip, which is then minus 0.26 down towards ADS speed, and then minus 0.2 to sprint to fire. Now, you'll notice I never do drastic pulls to either side, just because if you go all the way to ADS speed and completely destroy your recoil steadiness, for example, it's just going to ruin the gun. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. It's just like the standard thing. It's like, all right, I want ADS speed all the way. No, don't do that. It's going to destroy how the gun plays. Because like, if you go into a fire range, for example, and you fire this, it's so easy to use. It's like no recoil, great ADS, great sprint to fire, and that's how you want to build these weapons out. The next SMG I want to include in this video is the MX9. This is incredibly underrated. You never really see anyone use it, but what I would say, it is more of a solo and duo SMG. You don't want to be running this in quads the same way, because obviously, even if you put a mag on, you're only going to get a 32 round mag. But then you've got the XNRR muzzle, which is plus 0.5 for the recoil smoothness, and then plus 0.29 towards bullet velocity. The 16.5 inch Bruin barrel, which is tuned for 0.24 to recoil steadiness and 0.15 for damage range. We've then got the 32 round mag, of course, then the 9mm sub AP ammo, which is then plus 4.06 towards bullet velocity, and then plus 0.41 towards damage range. Because, like, obviously this gun has like no recoil whatsoever, which is even backed up by the Bruin Q900 grip, which is then tuned minus 0.29 towards ADS speed, and then minus 0.2 to sprint to fire. I love this SMG. Give it a go in solo and duos, and I honestly think you'll be really surprised with how it does, because I'm not seeing too many people use it yet, and they should be. Now, it's of course time to get into the long range meta. This is what is so important within Warzone 2 because, you know, the majority of your gunfights are those mid to long range fights across the open ground. So the assault rifle of choice, and I think it's a great all-rounder, has got to be the TAQ-56. This seems to be the starting weapon for most people within Warzone 2. If you're hopping on for the first time, want an easy gun to use that's going to perform really well, go for the TAQ-56. You want the Harbinger D20 muzzle, which is tuned 0.41 towards recoil smoothness, 0.29 towards bullet velocity. Next, you've got the 17.5-inch Hunter Pro barrel, which is then tuned minus 0.15 to ADS, and then all the way to plus 0.5 for recoil steadiness. It really needs it. And the aim walking speed isn't that important because, of course, you're using an assault rifle. It's more to be as a turret and hold a position. You're not really walking that much. So I want that recoil steadiness so I can have it as an absolute laser. You've then got the phase 3 grip, which is plus 0.36 to recoil stabilization and then plus 0.21 to aiming idle stability. Aiming idle stability is actually a lot more important in this game than people think. You've then got the 60-round mag when you're playing quads. I then drop that down to 40 if I'm playing solo or duos. And then you've got the AIM OPV4 optic, which is tuned to be all the way to ADS. And I actually don't change the close to far that much. A lot of people are going like, oh yeah, whack it all the way to far to reduce the visual recoil. It doesn't make as big a difference as it did in Warzone 1. If you're going to do it, maybe go for a minus 0.6, so it's a little bit further away, won't bobble as much, and then that is the TAQ-56. If you don't want to use the TAQ-56, go for the Kastov 762, aka the AMAX of Warzone 2. A little bit harder to use, but hits like a truck, and it's just, like, honestly, I see a lot of top players starting to use this and saying this is their favorite gun right now. So you've got the Polar Fire S muzzle, which is tuned for plus 0.5 towards recoil smoothness, plus 0.39 towards bullet velocity. The Kaz 10.5 for 84mm barrel, plus 0.26 for recoil steadiness, 0.19 to ADS speed. We've then got the FTAC Ripper underbarrel, tuned for plus 0.39 to recoil stabilization, plus 0.14 to aiming idle stability. The 40-round mag, which is large size, and then that AIM OPV4 stock again, optic, sorry, which is then ADS speed, and then wherever you feel like, because minus 0.6 towards far if you want a little bit less visual recoil. Honestly, absolute beast, really, really fun to use. Now, we've got the LMGs, okay? The RPK has been arguably the best long-range gun in Warzone 2 so far. It hits like a truck. It's got very little recoil. Like, honestly, before I even go through a class up, I'm just going to show you. Like, look at this. This is so easy to use at any range. Barely moves, especially if you're kind of firing like 5-10 bullet round, like bursts. Slays. ZLR Talon 5 muzzle, minus 0.5 for ADS speed, plus 0.19 towards bullet velocity. You've then got the FTAC Ripper, which is then minus 0.21 to ADS, minus 0.3 to aim walking speed. The high velocity ammo, of course, very, very important. So you've kind of got your gun feels a bit more hit scan, especially at those longer ranges. That is then tuned minus 0.87 towards recoil steadiness, and then minus 0.54 to recoil smoothness. Damage range, weirdly, because the way that the damage ranges work in this game is nowhere near as drastic as Warzone 1. So you don't really need to tune to damage range at all. Then we've got the Demo X2 grip for recoil control, plus 0.39 to recoil steadiness, plus 0.2 for aiming idle stability. And then I've got the Schlager 3.4x optic, which is then minus 0.58 to far. Obviously, I've been having it minus 0.6, but you just got to make those small adjustments. And then minus 2.42 for ADS speed. Absolute beast. And if you're struggling to win games, use this. Trust me. Then we've got the Royal MG. Now, this is like, once again, like, I don't know what it is with these LMGs, but they, like, honestly, like, this is just not, we're not even trying. Like, this thing just doesn't move. It is just a straight up laser. Ridiculous. We've got the 21X for Rhino barrel, which is minus 0.19 for ADS, plus 0.35 for recoil steadiness. The Bruin Agent 90 muzzle, plus 0.5 for recoil smoothness, plus 0.39 to bullet velocity. You've got the SA side grip, which is then minus 0.49 for ADS speed, plus 0.09 to aiming idle stability. Then, of course, you've got the FSS Ollie V laser, which is going to help with your ADS speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed. And then we've got the AIM OPV4 sight, which is minus 0.59 and then minus 2.32 for ADS speed. Like, honestly, love this thing. Very, very easy to use. A bit like how the TAQ is, the TAQ-56 is, to be perfectly honest with you. Now we've got a battle rifle and a gun that has been incredibly overlooked because of its brother, the TAQ-56. It is the TAQ-V. Now, the TAQ-V is a little bit harder to use than the TAQ-56, right? But it actually has the fastest time to kill at range in Warzone 2 out of the automatic weapons. So a little bit harder to use, and you've got to use the iron sight for the right build. But if you can use it, it is totally worth it. All right, so you've got the ZLR Talon 5 muzzle, which is plus 0.5 for recoil smoothness, plus 0.19 for bullet velocity. You've got the 18-inch Precision 6 barrel, which is then plus 0.24 to recoil steadiness, minus 0.19 for ADS speed. We've got the FTAC Ripper, which is plus 0.26 to recoil stabilization, minus 0.10 to aim walking speed, the 50-round drum, and then with the FSS Combat Grip, which is then plus 0.16 to recoil steadiness, and then plus 0.15 to aiming idle stability. It's an absolute beast. If you want something to try that's similar to the TAQ-56, but even better at long range, give the TAQ-V a go. Now, the final assault rifle that we've got to take a look at in this video is, of course, the M4. It's my baby, one of my favorite guns in the entire game. I just like it. You've got the Gauge 9 mono muzzle, which is tuned for 0.41 towards recoil smoothness, and then plus 0.26 to bullet velocity. The High Tower 20-inch barrel, plus 0.24 to recoil steadiness, minus 0.19 for ADS speed, the 60-round mag, and the FTAC Ripper underbarrel, plus 0.26 recoil stabilization, minus 0.15 to aim walking speed, and then the Aim Op V4 optic, which is then minus 0.59 towards far, and then minus 2.03 to ADS speed. Absolutely incredible. And also, like, I know a few of you want it, right? But I'll put it in every video so far, but here is my Fennec class as well, just in case. Fennec Covert Force, right? Recoil steadiness, damage range, the VLK at laser 7MW, the phase 3 grip, recoil stabilization, and aim walking speed in between, 45 round mag, and the Fennec rubber grip, which is recoil steadiness and sprint fire speed. Just in case you want it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching. See you next time.